What is up, everybody, and welcome back to Celestial Athletes. My name is Chadwell, and today, like always, another interesting video for you here on the channel. Who will dethrone all the current champions? We had a plethora of champions dethroned. So today, we're talking about who will dethrone those champions, and I'm very excited to talk about this. I think there's a lot of people that kind of making my first calls on some of them, kind of going to talk about who I think will dethrone every single one. And yeah, this is going to be a longer video, so let's get started with John Cena. Some of them are a little questionable on who could really dethrone him, others are not. So for example, Cody Rhodes will dethrone John Cena, and I really do believe that because John Cena, it only makes sense to go come full round where Cody Rhodes gets that title again from John Cena. If it's not that, truthfully, there's no one else. The only thing I could think of is either John Cena retires with it or John Cena becomes a good guy again and vacates it. I really do believe it's going to be one or the other. I think these are the only two options we're going to see with John Cena. There's nothing else that's going to happen. It is these two, and that's the bottom line. Like, there's really nothing else. Up next is Tiffany Stratton. So I thought Charlotte Flair would get this championship at WrestleMania. Didn't, thank goodness. I am a little questionable on what could happen with this. Part of me thinks that they'll run back Charlotte Flair again with Tiffany Stratton at one point, but with maybe crowd reactions, with maybe how the WWE reacts, with everything like that, do they really do that? I don't think so. And so now I'm thinking, I don't think we're going to see Charlotte Flair take this title. I think it's going to be something else where Charlotte Flair's not getting this title and Charlotte Flair will most likely maybe have other feuds or something. But yeah, I don't think it will be Tiffany Stratton losing this title to Charlotte Flair just for now. But they could have a match like this. There's three options for me. I think it might be Jade Cargill only because I could really see them trying to Jade Cargill cashing in if she's Money in the Bank owner also. But also because I really do believe that Jade Cargill will become a heel at some point. And I think her and Tiffany Stratton are two futures that we're going to want to see this match. They started to show the match. It ends up in a DQ. These two are a match that I want to see and I can't wait to see. So I think it could be Jade Cargill and it could be a hint. But also at the same time, a part of me is like, I think she'll win off Bianca Belair. This is who I originally wanted to put down. I think ultimately the future and maybe the next WrestleMania, because I think they're going to do Rhea and Bianca for SummerSlam. I think ultimately it's going to be Rhea versus Tiffany Stratton for the title. And I just have to believe that maybe Rhea is going to maybe go to SmackDown soon, maybe during a transfer portal. She goes after Tiffany Stratton because they had that moment. And it's the battle of baby faces a little bit, but kind of Rhea being that in-betweener. And yeah, I really see her potentially going for Tiffany Stratton and possibly winning off of Tiffany Stratton. How amazing would that match be? I really would want a Rhea versus Tiffany Stratton match. Up next is Jacob Fatu. This is a new one. There's two people for me. And I have only two. But I could see them going a shorter reign where he loses at maybe like SummerSlam, or they go for a long-term plan where he has it for a year plus and he loses to somebody else. I have Solo Sikoa winning, and my dark horse is Jimmy Uso. Originally, I always had Jimmy Uso thinking the babyface against Jacob Fatu, but I think the storyline makes a lot more sense if it would be Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa, with Solo turning on Jacob Fatu and Jacob Fatu maybe going his singles route. I really do believe that Jacob Fatu probably will have a somewhat babyface turn where he's more like a destructive babyface. I think Solo Sikoa is the most likely scenario, but also I think Jimmy Uso could be a big scenario if they want to keep Jacob Fatu still that heel character, because he does so well in that destructive kind of vibe that I really do believe that Jacob Fatu versus Jimmy Uso would be a great match. Kind of old bloodline versus new bloodline still. But at the same time, can I see a way where it's Jacob Fatu solo taking off of Jimmy Uso? Or Jimmy Uso taking off of Solo. Probably. Most likely that. Up next is Zelina Vega. This is a new one that I did not expect to have. I'm very happy I waited till the SmackDown. Who I think who I think ultimately, Naomi. I have been writing down Naomi potential for Chelsea Green for a little bit. If it wasn't for Zelina Vega moving, I think this new heel persona will be so well to work with a Zelina Vega, who is a good babyface. I think it just makes a lot of sense. I thought it would work with Chelsea Green, but she's not that much of a heel. This is who I really wanted it to be. I really wanted it to be Naomi. I think this new caution kind of vibe makes so much sense. It is. I'm so excited for her to become a new heel here, and it works out very well with Zelina Vega, and I hope she wins a title off it. My dark horse is Roxanne Perez, because if during this draft she moves to SmackDown, I gotta be honest with you, to me at least, Roxanne Perez versus a Zelina Vega, I want to see that. That'll be a great match, and I think it really would be heel versus babyface a lot, and it could be a way to really push Roxanne Perez, but right now she's on Raw, so we'll have to see on that. Up next is Street Profits. Kept their tag titles. I need to find like a new render for them. I just realized that's kind of awkward. Who I still think pretty deadly, because I think there's been big hints, and I see that there's going to be some change up and everything during this kind of draft. I'm trying to think who else it could be, because I don't want it to be DIY Motor City Machine Guns. Like maybe Creed Brothers, but yeah, I really just see Street Profits right now. My dark horse is Motor City Machine Guns, because I ultimately think they're going to go full round with them winning again. And if any case, like that's, if I don't want DIY or Motor City Machine Guns, this is what I realistically see. But I also want to say, Fraxium just joined SmackDown. Do I think they're going to stay on SmackDown? I don't think so. I don't think so. I think ultimately Fraxium will move to Raw during the draft. But if they do, I'm putting them down as my dark horse, or who I think, because Fraxium is winning titles ASAP. ASAP. Up next is Liv Morgan versus Raquel Rodriguez, who I think Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross is going to be the ones to take it from them. I think that was ultimately the plan entering WrestleMania. And now with them having some space, I think that's ultimately what's going to happen with them coming back and the White Six being a factor. My dark horse here is still Metaphor. I'm so wanting them to go to NXT. I want the titles to go to NXT, and I really do believe these two would do wonders with it, and they could really go to the main roster and make some good moves. Up next is Oba Femi. Who do I think with Oba Femi? I am fully putting down Javon Evans. I think it is going to be Javon Evans. I think it should be Javon Evans. I am pulling my cards after that triple threat and saying Javon Evans is for sure going against Oba Femi and winning the title. There's no one else that I could see really doing it. It is Javon Evans. My dark horse is Ricky Saints. I think Ricky Saints most likely will not be called up during the main roster during the draft, but I think later on in life, maybe it's summer, maybe the draft happens after Backlash. Like May, or maybe after Money in the Bank, like June something. Whatever it is, I believe Ricky Saints will most likely take out Obafemi if he had a chance. But yeah, I don't think they're going to give him that chance, truthfully. Just being honest. Up next, Stephanie Vaquer. I think it's going to be Julia still. I think this heel persona is going to be very nice for Stephanie and Julia. I think it makes a lot of sense to have Stephanie versus Julia. And yeah, I really like these two going against each other, and I hope this is the result. But I would not be mad about Jordynne Grace. But I really do think it's going to be Stephanie, then Julia, then Jordynne Grace, because of how the dynamics of a babyface and heels right now working. But Jordynne Grace, I thought she could have won in that Fatal 4-Way, but she didn't, and I am very happy about it. I think, though, when you're looking at NXT, they have fully pushed their chips in Stephanie, and that is the new, that is the top woman in NXT, and that's who they believe is going to be one of their top stars in the day. So I think it will be Stephanie holding this for a little bit longer, and then ultimately Julia will win it. Up next is Ricky Saints. Speaking of Ricky, who do I think? Well, right now, I think he's going to hold on this title for a little bit because it's Ricky Saints. 2, there's not really that much great contenders in my opinion. I right now have Lexis King and Eddie Thorpe. Those are the two that I am back and forth on. I originally had Eddie Thorpe before this video saying who I think. But Lexis King losing the Heritage Cup, he already has some gold in his, trophy case. Makes me believe they'll trust Alexis King more than Eddie Thorpe, but they have already put Eddie Thorpe in a lot of NXT matches and a lot of NXT title matches. So it could really be Eddie Thorpe. I just have to believe that it's more than likely going to be Lexis King. But we'll have to see because Alexis King is somebody that I truthfully believe could be a really good star in NXT. So I want him to have that title. Up next is Sol Ruka. I'm very happy I called it last time, but then in my stand deliver, I changed it off of Sol Ruka because she won the speed, but she is 2-strap Sol. Like, this is crazy to say that Sol Ruka is a double champ right now with Speed Championship, depending on how you see it. Who do I think? I think it's going to be Zarya. I think they're going to ultimately make a storyline with Zarya and Sol Ruka, with Zarya winning that and Zarya turning heel. I also could see it where Zarya costs Sol Ruka and Jada Parker wins instead. But I really do believe that ultimately Sol Ruka and Zarya are going to break up. It's going to be Zarya winning this title off of Sol Ruka, or it's going to be costing her. Either or. I just have to believe that Zarya and Sol Ruka are going to have a match soon. For that title. Not soon. We're going to have a match for that title, and that's going to be how it happens. Or it's going to be Jada Parker stealing it in a maybe triple threat, or having it in a, what is it called? Why am I blanking? Or having a match against Sol Ruka and Zarya cost her. And I also really believe Jada Parker more than likely will have a North American title because she's been pushed to the moon recently with thinking about Royal Rumble debut and a NXT stand deliver fatal 4-way. Crazy. Up next is Hank and Tank. Can't believe I'm saying this, but they have Dethrone Fraxium. I still believe it's going to be Darkseid because they have 4 people. 2 of them should have the gold on them. And I really do have to believe that you have to make this faction look crazy and scary. This is the way you do it. My dark horse is still Inamura and Briggs because they looked so amazing during that Fraxium match that I am a full believer in them, and I hope to God they get these tag titles. But Hank and Tank might hold it on for a little bit. They're a big baby face. I really am very happy for them. But yeah, I think ultimately Dark State will be the winners because they're dark, evil heels. Up next is Jey Uso. We are now making to Raw. There is 2 options that I really like from this, and that is who I think in my dark horse, Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre. I think it's going to be Seth Rollins now. I've had it for a while. That's going to be Drew McIntyre, and here's why. Seth Rollins in this new faction, whatever, it has to look crazy. It makes sense for him to most likely go against Jey Uso and win it off of him as a heel. I really do believe it's going to be Seth Rollins versus Jey Uso at maybe like Money in the Bank. I said that a while ago that it was Money in the Bank where he might lose this at. And ultimately, Seth Rollins wins it, becomes the new heavyweight championship holder. But I always thought Drew McIntyre would get a long title reign, and it was because Drew would take it off of Jey Uso. But maybe Seth Rollins loses somebody else, and then Drew McIntyre wins it. I don't know. I'm so back and forth on this because I think storyline-wise, Seth Rollins winning it makes a lot of sense to have that championship on a big kind of story. But at the same time, having Drew McIntyre win is probably what I would want more. Up next is Io Sky. I am not changing anything with my 2 people I picked. I think it's Bianca and them. Bianca has so much storyline. I wish she would have won it. Rhea Ripley makes a ton of sense, but I want her on the run. I don't want her to win a championship here soon. I really do believe Rhea Ripley is better on the run and better as somebody not having a title, truthfully. I really want Bianca Belair to win this. I really do. I want Bianca with a title soon. I know she's injured, but I think her coming back, getting Io Sky, taking out Io Sky, winning the title is something I want to see. But we'll have to see on that one because then I think you can ultimately go to Jade. But at the same time, I think we won't see for sure who could take out Io Sky till this draft. That's just what I think. Up next is Dominic Mysterio. My God, am I happy with this one. Who do I think? Finn Balor. I think more than likely they're going to tell a story and Dominic Mysterio is going to lose to Finn Balor. But this is who I've been saying, but I don't think they're going to have a Night of Champions PLE, or they're going to have a King and Queen of the Ring, which is so crazy after you just brought it back. My dark horse, John Cena. I think they're going to try and make John Cena a Grand Slam champ with 2 belts and make him look more insane. You ultimately will have him going against Dominic Mysterio. Dominic Mysterio losing the IC title belt. I just think it's more than likely that's where we're going. And I think if that's the case, then you have Dominic Mysterio losing to John Cena, that's not terrible. John Cena is a Grand Slam champ as well. He's really the greatest of all time, like he's trying to say. It's a good way to make him the GOAT, and I think I want to put him as who I think, but I think they're going to tell a story of Finn Balor. Up next is Live Valkyria. It is going to be Becky Lynch. I just don't know when. Maybe it could be literally in the next upcoming weeks. Maybe it could be the next day. Whatever it might be, Becky Lynch is winning. My dark horse is Roxanne Perez. I think she's winning a mid-card title this year, but it is probably going to be Becky Lynch in a week or two. If anything, I could really see a SummerSlam match of Becky Lynch versus Roxanne Perez, which I would be super, super excited about. Up next is the New Day. This is the final and where we're at. Who I think, Motor City Machine Guns, I think are going to be drafted to Raw. I think they're going to go against the New Day in a, oh my God, thinking about Motor City Machine Guns versus New Day, something that I think everyone would have wanted years ago. Amazing tag teams. Gotta put them down, but I really want Fraxium to be the ones to take off of New Day on Raw. But let me say this. I think if they are on SmackDown, they are going to win against the Street Profits. But ultimately, and more than likely, I could see a draft going to Raw because the winning against the New Day as real big heels, and these two are big baby faces, is the ultimate push for Fraxium. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.